problematic. You either add
Alright,
you
look,
either
let's set up
subtract
Pondo
or try
so
to
we don't
stack
put
it.
this man in a situation where it's getting fucking late. Alright, it is, yes. Hello, Mad Man Pondo. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. My name is Richie, King Cold the Rapper. I'm sitting here with my manager, James Drums, and you are on Power Requires Hustle Live. How are you doing this evening? Everything good with you?
I'm doing great. I hope you guys are doing good too.
Oh, dude, we're doing phenomenal. You have no idea personally how excited I am that we were able to get you on the phone. You know, I worked with you, not with you, but like in the same, locker room a couple times in the independent wrestling scene. And you just always had a really cool vibe about you. Like the younger guys were always really excited when you worked because like they were able to learn from you without even having to directly ask you anything. Like you were always really super nice to everyone, man, and like that impression even 4 years later has stuck with me. So when I was going through my list of people that I absolutely wanted to interview and ask about different topics, man, you were always on the top of that list, and I really appreciate you for your time, man. This is really cool. So the Juggalo March, at what point were you asked to speak? Were you always, were they always, even when the Juggalo March first came about and they started talking about it, were you always kind of a candidate to speak because of your long-term relationship with Insane Clown Posse?
No, I didn't even know. Well, I was already going to go to the march anyway, and Kevin Gill knew that I was coming to the march, and then he asked if there was a slot would I want to speak, and then I said sure, I'm coming anyway, and that would be a great honor for me. And then within minutes he wrote me back and said, okay, you're an alternate, and then with any minutes and a little beyond that, he called me back and said, no, you're definitely speaking at the march, get your speech ready.
That's about how that works.
So if you saw my speech, you saw that I didn't use a piece of paper or a laptop to read off of or a phone. I just felt it in my heart what I wanted to say, and I pulled that podium back and just unleashed in between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial, how many people in the world can say that they got to speak their mind in between those two spots?
That's true, man. It was a big deal for everyone that has anything to do with either the independent Juggalo movement or really music in general. I feel like even mainstream artists, Vanilla for that matter. Dude, he rides or dies with the clowns, man, loves them, and it's really cool that it got more attention than just us, because like we know the bullshit that Juggalos go through as individuals, mad hated on, hard to get a job, the general population of people just have heard bad shit, and I was really hyped that the Juggalo March went so well and it was so peaceful and everybody had such a good time,
Speaking of peace, me and Isaiah from JCW and my buddy Terry Harper, we got off the train too quick and had to walk to the march, which was, all the way at the other end. And we walked through the Trump rally, and Trump supporters were fighting with Trump supporters. But then when we got down there to the Juggalo March, it was all about, the Juggalos and family. So what's that tell you right there?
Well, Juggalos, we don't have any crazy rivalries, we don't really have a reason to beef with one another, for the most part, any Juggalo event I've ever been to has been chill and peaceful, and we're rowdy, But I mean, 90% of the time, man, no one gets hurt. It never becomes a thing. If somebody gets knocked down in the mosh pits or whatever, man, they're picked up. We don't trample anybody. It's actually got kind of the same vibe that a metal show does, but like I feel like it's more of an association with one another. If you go to a Maryland Man, or not Maryland Man's, it's not a good choice. But if you go to like a normal metal show, man, you're not going to know a lot of people. It's not like the same vibe. But dude, if you go to a city you've never been to a Juggalo event, man, you can vibe and kick it with people you have never met in your life and have a great time and know that it is all love and it's a common association. So it doesn't even surprise me that there were problems at that fucking Trump side of the march. I mean...
Well, not really problems, but I think it was more Trump supporters fighting with each other, so the cameras got put on it.
Oh,
The cameras surrounded them after that.
Which is ironic because the Trump march thing got announced out of the blue. Like, the Juggalo march was going on like a year plus that it had been announced and planned, and, all this shit was lined up for it. So, and I mean, it's America, and like there's a march on DC every 2 weeks or whatever for different causes, which is cool. But it's almost shitty to me that it landed on the same weekend, because that did take away.
There was somebody working against it to do that, but it didn't work. The march was successful. All the concerts were successful. The speeches were successful. I mean, it was just a good day to be a Juggalo.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You said that you didn't use a pre-wrote speech or anything like that, and I don't think you ever have. Like, I watched one of your seminars at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and you were talking. I'll never forget it because I meant to ask you about it in person, but. Like, there was a deathmatch thing, and there were all of these weapons that the fans brought. And, dude, there was all this crazy shit there. But you said that there was this bed of pencils that everybody kept passing up. So, like, when it finally came to you doing your thing, like, you grabbed the motherfuckers, and somehow you ended up falling on them. And you had a big-ass piece of lead, like, stuck in, like, your side or your ass or something. And you said that you...
I still have the pencil marks in my back today.
Oh, man.
the thing about deathmatch tournaments are you always want to be remembered. I mean, you always want to do one thing that somebody's going to go, you remember that? Well, out of that whole tournament, Big Gage got caught on fire. And I landed in a bed of pencils, and I don't hear anything. And a guy named Blood in a amateur battle royal went over the top rope and put his knee in a shopping cart full of light tubes and cut his knee. It looked like a hacksaw on the side of a pig.
Oh, shit.
Those three things are the only thing that I ever hear from that tournament of death, so I guess I did my job.
No, man, like I said, though, when you talk in public, man, it's really inspiring. Because a lot of Juggalos, man, or at least the ones I know and hang out with, man, like, they're not all outspoken. A lot of times they're shyer. They come from fucked up households or, had bad shit happen to them. So, like, dude, they're not vocal. So, like, Juggalos really do need people like you to speak for them. Because like you do have this way about yourself, this aura when you speak. It's powerful, and I tell you,
I've never been shy a day in my life, and thank God that I am gifted with the gift of bullshit.
I mean, that's a good set of skills to have, brother. It really is. So you worked a lot in Japan, off and on, like over the years, and
I was there from 2000 to 2008, and then I went again 2009 years ago for a tour, so 43 times there and back.
Wow, that's a lot of jet lag, brother.
You know what? I never realized if I had jet lag. If I did, I don't even know what it is. But I know that I would come home and go ahead and go to sleep. I don't know if that's jet lag or whatever. But you know, once you're up there, you don't even realize that you're flying. So I really had no problem with jet lag.
That's cool. You know, I actually flew to LA to film a music video in May. And it was the first time where I was on a plane long enough where I had a connecting flight. And the first plane ride, nerve-wracking. You know, I was just worried that somehow this was going to be my big break to work in LA. And my plane was going to crash and I was going to die before I got my shit done. But the plane ride back, I was a little nervous. But had my shit done, knew that no matter what happened, my video would be processed and end up online. So, you know, to get over the shakes of being on the plane, man, I got trashed on the flight. You know, just got drunk. And I don't recommend it, but it was just great. But I remember I'm watching one of those in-flight movies, drunk as hell, to get my mind off of the fact that I'm flying. And they had the Creed movie. And dude, I had no idea it was so fucking sad. So dude, I'm watching the Creed movie, bawling my eyes out, grown-ass 300-pound man on this little fucking plane. And I made the Chinese dude next to me so goddamn uncomfortable he asked to move. That's real shit.
43 times there and back. I don't drink alcohol. You know, I know you said you got smashed, but I don't drink. But,
yeah.
After so many, they would cut you off from drinking alcohol. So then I'm back. I was always the Necro Butcher's best friend because when he would get cut off, I would get him, and then I would give it to him. And, when you said something about being sad on the plane, so they started giving you a choice of 4 or 5 movies that you could watch and TV shows and stuff like that. And I started watching Saving Silverman with Jack Black and you know, and laughed my ass off the whole time. I thought it was a hilarious movie. Well, after my movie, I got to looking around. And people are crying and have tears in their eyes. I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? Well, my first instinct is to look at the stewardess. If the stewardess are going nuts, then you know the plane's getting ready to go the fuck down. You know, the stewardess was fine and everything, but everybody was crying. Well, that's when I know John Zandig they was walking to the bathroom when he passes me up, and he's got tears in his eyes. And I'm like, John, what is everybody crying about? And he said, have you ever seen this movie called Pay It Forward? It's on there, and so I watched it next, and man, it was depressing.
Oh yeah, it'll fuck you up, man.
Yeah, that was a bad scare for me on an airplane, seeing about 6 or 7 people all crying at the same time.
And those people crying, because Zandig's like a total fucking badass. You know, CZW guy. You know, he ran that for years. Dude, it's just but I mean, it shows you wrestlers are real people. You know what I'm saying? Some of the most compassionate things I ever saw happened in the wrestling locker room. You know, like
right.
Yeah, like one of our brothers passing away or something. Like I remember when I first broke into wrestling, man, I was out back smoking a cigarette because I fucking smoked early on in wrestling for some reason. That was a great idea. But I'm out back, you know, basically using the cigarette as an association to talk to the older dudes. And man, they brought up J.C. Bailey and some of the crazy shit that he went through, man. And I didn't actually get to know J.C. personally, but hearing them, you know, talk about him and whatnot, man, and all the great stories that they had of him, man, it was just really cool. Because, you know, when JC was really huge popular, man, I was a fan out in the fucking stands watching. And just seeing him evolve into the star that he did was really fucking cool. And all these guys, even to this day, man, have such a positive opinion of him. And man, you just don't get that in other businesses. You know, like wrestling really is
I'll tell you this, JC had some of the worst demons in professional wrestling that I've ever seen. And I'm not, saying anything that anybody that was close to him didn't know.
Yeah.
But he came to me and said, Pondo, I want to go to Japan. And I'm like, JC, I can't have you going over there and being all fucked up and asking people for pills. And he said, I promise you, you get me over to Japan and I'll stay sober the whole time. So, sure enough, he had a bottle full of pills on the way over. He took them all before he got there. Stayed sober the whole time, and then on the way back, got fucked up out of his mind. But, that should tell you how bad JC wanted to go to Japan, that he had these demons, but he promised me he'd stay sober, and he did it, and he got over pretty good over there. So, shortly after that, we all know what happened, but, JC we were pretty close.
Yeah, man.
And, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, there were a lot of guys in that locker room. I'm in Evansville, Indiana. So, NFW was the locker room that I first actually, I take that back. When I first met you, this is a great fucking story, and I know for a fact you don't remember this, but man, I'm going to tell you this. I was out back of the Coliseum in Evansville, Indiana, man, and I was there with my buddy Jimmy Hatcher, man. Hatcher is a long time juggalo, like ride or die with that shit. And man, we were out back actually waiting to see if we could meet you. And I think Corporal and Cashflow were on the event too. So I think it was when Ian was running, in fact. If that shows you like how long ago it was. But man, I was out back and we got to meet you. You signed my fucking backyard wrestling video game with like your skull and your bat wings on it. And dude, it was so fucking dope that you sat and talked to us as long as you did. And dude, we go in and you're wrestling, I think you were wrestling Corporal that night actually. And man, you had the bell ringer's fucking hammer. And I was like you hit him with the handle of it or something, and I was like, dude, but like in front of everybody, I was like, yo man, why don't you just hit him with the top of the hammer? And like you walked towards me with it and was like something along the lines of, how would you like to get hit in the face with this hammer? And scared the shit out of me. Like, dude, really terrified me, man, because I thought Pondo was going to whoop my ass with his hammer after he just signed my fucking video game. And dude, it was just one of those crazy things. And that stuck with me forever. So when I actually met you in the locker room, I think I asked you about a time that you worked with Ian or something that happened. It doesn't matter, and I'm not going to bring it up now. But you were 100% honest and cool about it, and I was worried that it was going to be some fucked up shit that I asked you or crossing a line one way or another. And you were 100% cool about it. And it just goes to show you that, you can, from a fan's perspective, man, you can really 100% scare the shit out of a fan. And like put them into that mode where like, yo, you need to shut the fuck up while I'm working. You need to be quiet, kid. I'm busy.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what a lot of wrestlers forget. It's the fans that keep us coming back. It's the fans that buy the tickets and get us paid. It's the fans that cheer us on and make promoters want to bring us in. So on my way in, if a fan has something to say, I'll definitely stop and I'll talk to them because I need as many fans as I can get.
Yeah.
While I'm wrestling, if I say something fucked up or messed up, just like this right here was happening, that means somebody's going to talk about it someday, and that keeps my name alive in this business. And then afterwards, if I'm walking to my car, if somebody's got something they want me to sign, I'm not a fucking idiot. I realize it's the fans that help us through this shit, so I always stop and talk and sign stuff, and at the gathering, you'll see a lot of guys who walk around and they'll be on golf carts or whatever and not stop. I always stop. I always carry a Sharpie with me, and it's you, the fans, that help us out. So that's exactly what I keep happy.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Like, I loved everything about wrestling. It was a beautiful business. I'm not wrestling now, and it wasn't because I had a fallout with anybody or anything like that, but I went through a bad divorce and then kind of just powdered out for a little bit. But I mean, I still drop into wrestling shows and, kick it in the locker room and shoot the shit with the people that broke me into the business. And I mean, I still genuinely love wrestling. I adore wrestling, everything about it. And it's just one of those weird businesses where you can be away from it for years and then go back to it, or be away from people that you broke into the business with for years, and then you run into them again, and it's like, oh man, it's so fucking great to see you. You know what I'm saying? It really is a brotherhood. It really is. No doubt. So when you worked over in Japan, I'm under the impression that you speak Japanese, yes?
Not at all.
Really? No shit?
I had a Japanese wife who would help me through, and I knew enough words that if I got lost in a city, I'd be able to find my way back. And the cool thing about Japan is if you get lost, or if you want a specific something to eat, or if you need the bathroom or whatever, Japanese people are so polite. If you ask one, 2 or 3 will jump in and say, yeah, go this way, or it's over here, or you can even say it. The big thing when I was going in the beginning was internet cafes, because internet wasn't as popular, not popular, but there wasn't that many outlets to use the internet when I was first going over there, and all the TV shows, well, it's their country, were all in Japanese.
Well, yeah.
Real bad. So internet cafes would be the way to go, and Japanese people would always help us find internet cafes, or which way McDonald's was, or convenience stores. So, that's the difference between Japan and here. But they're so polite over there. They're just out to help you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm under the impression, I haven't gone personally. It was really, really on my to-do list. Because I just heard stories of when you would go over there, and Raven told me about Japan, and he was like, dude, you gotta go to Germany, do it while you're young, do it before you have kids. He was like, really get out there and like check out all these different avenues for wrestling, because you go overseas and it's a whole different ballgame. A lot of guys in Japan wrestle strong style, and dude, it's it's quite a bit tougher than America wrestling. I mean,
that's a huge myth. I mean, yeah, some of your New Japan and All Japan guys, they do that strong style hitting each other, but I was at Big Japan. And when I first got there, I met Jim Kasai, who has no front teeth. I met John Calla, his teeth were missing. I met Shadow WX, had that teeth. And I thought, man, these guys are kicking the shit out of each other. But no, it was just bad hygiene.
Fuck!
They're no tougher than what we are. And I was over there. I was in the CPW group, but Abdul the Butcher's the one who got me over there. Therefore, I was one of Abdul's boys. So to begin with, everybody was afraid of me, but then when they figured out, he's just a jackass like we are, things get a lot easier, and everybody just had a good time,
Well, I mean, Mad Man Pondo is the type of dude that's like, yeah, they're just as normal as we are. But like, what people don't know, or people do know, you might not know this though, James, is Pondo has pulled his own tooth out of his face. That's real shit. He hangs out with 3 of them? Fuck!
Holy shit.
He's a badass though, man. I swear the fucking God.
I can't imagine.
Oh my God.
I'm not a badass. I'm just a guy who has no money and can't go to the dentist, so I do the shit myself.
That's real shit, though.
That I can relate.
That's real shit. That is. I swear to God, I considered doing it, and then I was like, look, Pondo did this, I can, and then I tried to, and dude, I could not bring myself to fuck with it. But dude, my hat's off to you, because pulling teeth is a real fucking rough thing to do, buddy. Like, for real. And dude, three, whew, shit.
That night, have you ever heard of Jeff the Drunk from the Howard Stern Show?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, me and Luke Hadley was filming a documentary using me and Jeff the Drunk, and I was sitting at his house, and it was like 3 a.m., and I just made the comment because I had a toothache and I couldn't sleep. I told Luke, I said, man, if I had a pair of pliers, I'd pull this tooth out right now. And his eyes lit up, and he's like, oh my God, we need to get a pair of pliers right now. Well, that's into it because my dumbass said something about it. So then we went to Walmart, got a pair of pliers, went back, and the video that you're talking about, that was filmed at Jeff the Drunk's kitchen table.
That's so awesome. Dude, the background info you get, you just don't know. But that's amazing, dude. Like, Pondo, you hang out with some interesting people, bruh. Like, dude, you'll understand.
If you go on YouTube, and you put Manson Pondo,
It's about to bring that up.
Manson having a contest of putting Vicks Vapor Rub in our tear ducts to see which one cried first.
That's real shit. They did that. I've seen the video, dude. I was literally going to talk about it. You know, you go from teeth to Marilyn Manson and the Vicks Vapor Rub in the eye, but dude, they did that shit. And, oh man, whew. Like, dude, that's a pain tolerance out of this world, dude. Right. So, was that your first? Was that your first meeting with Marilyn Manson? The first time you kicked it with him?
Yeah. Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins was running Resistance Pro, and well, not running it, but I mean he was a part of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to know each other pretty good, and then him and Marilyn Manson did a show in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I wrote Billy Corgan. I said, hey, is there any way that I can come see you? And he said, yeah, most definitely. So he got us passes. And then when we got there, they put these green ones on our wrist, and Billy said, make sure you come back here after the show. And I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah. So we went back, and they took us around to the where the food is, the commissary part. So we're sitting there, and Billy comes out, and he talks with us, and then Billy looks at me, and he goes, here comes the Emperor. And I look at the door, and Marilyn Manson's coming my way.
The Emperor.
Something in his hand that he's throwing around. So I think him and Billy already had this plan. I'm sure Billy said something to Marilyn Manson along the lines of, hey, I know a guy who loves pain like you. So Marilyn Manson was testing it out. So he comes over to the table, and he's got that big Vapor Rub in his hand, and he's like, Billy, I was wanting to do a contest with somebody. Who do you think I should pick? And Billy goes, well, there's your pain guy right there. And that's how that came. Well, then next thing I know, Twitter Mad comes in, and he sits down next to me as well. So the table was so squished with people that I actually rubbing elbows with Marilyn Manson and Twitter Mad. You don't see Twitter Mad in the video, you don't see Billy Corgan in the video, but they're sitting at the table as well. And then the rest of history, there's no way I was going to let a guy who wore a dress on stage beat me, so and I waited until he lost, and then I got that shit out of my eyes as soon as I could.
Dude, that is an amazing story, bro. That really is. Yeah. Dude, that's fucking cool, man. It really is. So you have any? I'm literally that dude that every once in a while I follow you on Facebook, man. I really like your shit, Pondo. I really do, man. And yeah, I follow you on Facebook, and I'm that annoying fucking dude that marks out every once in a while, and I'm like, man, you gotta do a book. You gotta write a book. And man, I really think you should. It's just I read those wrestling books, man, and before I broke into wrestling, they were like so important to me, like literally like college textbooks in a way. And I understand that part of it's a work or whatever the fuck, but for the most part, man, like you would get just these genuine, not only funny ass stories out of them, but man, it was educational from a worker perspective, because sometimes they'd be like, yo, don't go to this place in the world, here's why, or don't stay in this hotel, here's why. And I mean, that's important information when you're a young person out on the road, you know?
It's funny you say that because a guy named John Cosper is right now doing Dr. D show. But as soon as he gets that done, he's starting on mine.
Yes! That's going to be amazing. Oh.
And he's asked people for stories, and they've all wrote a bunch of stories. So here's the thing about me. I don't like shooting on people because I don't want heat later on in life. So most of my stories are going to be funny stories. But this one might not be in the book, might be, I don't know. But you were saying the places not to go.
Yeah.
I've been to Puerto Rico, Canada, Mexico, Germany, England, Japan, Scotland, moving one out, England, Germany. Did I say Germany? I've been to Germany. And I'm telling you right now, no place is a place that you shouldn't go. If somebody's buying you a plane ticket and telling you to come over here and wrestle, go do it. People talk about how dangerous Puerto Rico is to go to. Yeah, if you go into certain areas, Puerto Rico is very dangerous. You know, don't go into Puerto Rico looking for drugs at midnight. You know?
I mean, you can say that about Detroit. You know, just don't go looking for drugs anywhere, and you'll be okay.
Even Flash Flanagan was living over there, and we went to pick up Flash at his house, and I'm like, Flash, do you realize these are bullet holes in the side of your house? And he's like, I was over there when I moved in. And I was like, well, why the fuck did you move in?
I love Flash, man, and he would do that shit. Like, Flash is an amazing dude, super into Star Wars, and like just a really great guy, man. Every show I've ever been on where Flash was in the locker room was just amazing. And I remember there was when my first weekend in wrestling, I was walking around the locker room, man, just trying to find somebody to talk to about shit. And I was walking around and asking all the older established guys just one question. I didn't want to bother them forever, and be that fucking guy. I just asked them one question. And Flash looked at me and was like, if we were having a battle royal, I would, I wouldn't, but some of the older guys might target you just because you annoyed the fuck out of them while they were getting dressed. And like, dude, that is something that outside people do not know, or maybe I was just a fucking meathead ass kid, I don't know. But he was just 100% honest. I remember him and Vic the Bruiser worked. And I learned real quick just by watching Vic wrestle other people not to fuck with him, like for real. And but
I'm good friends with both of you guys, and the one you were saying about the battle wall, people posting in and coming straight at you. It's funny you saying that because if I would see that going on, normally I would, and I'm sure there's videos of it somewhere. I would bring a taser, not a straight to the ground taser, but just one of those little pocket tasers with me. If I ever saw that happening, I always have somebody on the ass with that taser.
Put them in check.
That stops that shit real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had it happen to me. I've had wrestlers in the business definitely take their liberties, and it sucks, but sometimes there were a couple instances where I 100% was fucking up and deserved it, but there were a couple times where I thought it was unjust, but I mean, it's whatever. I learned from it. I lived. I had one situation where Doug Gilbert, for some reason, I upset him in a match. And man, he slammed my fucking face into the guardrail and smashed my shit the weekend before my first wedding, which was crazy because it was a Saturday and I was getting married on Tuesday. And I took the situation like a total fucking girl. I remember I go to the backstage and Drake Younger was there. And it was like his return from Japan. He just did a great fucking run over there. Was cut out stone, looked like $1 million fucking bucks. And I come back super heated to the locker room, man. And he's like, yo, man, what are you upset about? What the fuck's going on? And I'm like, yo, this happened. He blacked my eye, all this shit. I'm fucking really mad about it. And he looked at me and all he said was, you're getting married on a Tuesday? And it was funny because, like, I go back and study Drake's shit, man. And he was in, like, the Cage of Death and all kinds of, like, really crazy events. And I'm crying about, not crying, but bitching about my black eye. And looking back on it, man, like, Doug hit me up and apologized and shit. And I was like, man, don't apologize. Like, it was an honor working with you. And, like, I learned from the situation. But I 100% fucked up in that match. I don't remember what happened or what I did. But, it was just one of those things where, man, you sometimes the older guys fucking teach you in their own way.
I have huge respect for Doug Gilbert. Like, over in Japan, me, him, and Leatherface went to 8. And, I love Doug Gilbert, but I wanted to talk more about Drake Younger.
Oh, yeah, go on, yeah.
One of those guys who had terrible fucking demons. Any drug will do, any alcohol will do. And we're just headed down the wrong path, and he's lucky to be alive as much shit as I saw him do. But look at him today.
Oh yeah, man, he's doing great.
Yeah. He's happy with his family. He's a great family man. I hear him brag about his kids all the time. He was one of the worst things I ever met, but now he's one of the most clean, happy with his life guys I ever met, and I don't tell him enough, but I'm very proud of Drake Younger to this day.
Yeah, man, Drake was just, I remember, and dude, I don't like being a younger dude and talking too much about that shit, but people knew about each other and each other's flaws in life and whatnot, and dude, when I saw him after he came back from Japan and he was clean, like, I could not believe it was the same fucking person, dude. Like, he was literally cut out of stone, had a whole different mentality. He was so driven, and dude, it's just amazing how people can turn their shit around like that, dude's just a phenomenal athlete. Great artist in the ring.
Any guy out there now struggling with drug abuse or not knowing what way to go professional wrestling, try to seek out Drake Younger, or Drake Ward was his name. Try to seek him out and just talk to him and see what he did. So tell him Pondo sexual.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'll definitely try to reach out to him, man. I haven't talked to him in a while, man. But anytime he came through NFW, man, really nobody came through NFW that wasn't cool. There were a couple people that got driven out of NFW because they weren't cool. But, that's heat with the boys, and that really, me being new, like, dude, I didn't let myself be part of shit like that. Because, like you said, man, I didn't want heat 20 years down the road for some stupid shit,
Well, this is what some guys don't realize, they're beating people up in battle rules and taking liberties and all that. The guys of today, the new guys of today, someday is going to be running a wrestling show.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're going to want to work for that wrestling show. But are they going to remember that he took liberties with them, or are they going to remember that he was the guy who said, hey, stick with me, and I won't let him do that, or if I tase him and get that guy away from him, who are they going to remember and put later on down the road?
Yeah, no doubt. A lasting impression matters. Your first impression in business really matters, and really your legacy that you leave behind is all that matters. So like if you're remembered as an asshole, and like a lot of wrestlers that have passed had that reputation, and nobody wants that. I know I didn't want it. I was kind of like in the same boat you were, where I stopped and talked to every fan and took 100 pictures a night with different people, and just shot the shit with them, and just really took out of my personal time Not even because I knew it was important, but because I like to do it. You know, I like to talk to people. I like hearing what they're going through, even if it's like they're going through it, you know, and having like a bad day, man. I even like hearing about that because like then it almost makes me feel better because, man, I'm not going through that, or, you know, maybe I can help them out in some way. You know, it's just a weird business, man. Wrestling was always just really awesome, dude. It's great to be in a locker room, even if it wasn't my home camp, you know, because I only worked out at NFW and a few other places. But, man, I'll go to a show in Indianapolis and check them out. And, man, it's like, if you're in one locker room, you're in all of them. You know, you just have that vibe.
You should say, I don't know what range your podcast is. NFW is New Focus Wrestling, run by Johnny Richards.
Absolutely, yeah. Johnny Richards broke me into wrestling, buddy. That's one of my best friends in the entire world. No doubt. Well, him and Scotty Wolf broke me in. You know, both amazing people. Yeah, definitely. And you know what? We're going to have Johnny on the show, too. We would have had him on the show before now if his schedule lined up. But he's been globetrotting and doing this thing. And I really appreciate you, you know, staying up in the AM to talk with us, man. That's really cool. I don't know what your schedule is or where you're at in the world, man. But, Pondo, it's really great bumping into you anytime, man. You know what? I was at secret headquarters. My buddy Greg, who's one of my best friends in the world, he works there. And I know you know Greg, or he knows you, or whatever. And I was in there filming a music video, and he was like, yo, man, Pondo's going to come through and grab his books and say, what up? You should wait for him. And, dude, we were in such a time constraint with the video because we had so many fucking locations to film at where we didn't stick around, man. But it would have been cool to fucking wiggle you in a video or something, man. I know you did a lot of, dude, you do a lot of movie work, it seems like, man. I didn't.
This one movie I did 2001 Maniacs with Robert England.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy about that is I didn't even know you were in that fucking movie, and I was watching it and you were there. And I was like, what the fuck? Dude, I had to rewind and make sure it was you. And then I had to Wikipedia it to make sure it was you, and lo and behold, it was fucking you. But no, man, you did some work on ICP's movie, did you not?
No, wasn't in either one of them.
You weren't in fucking Big Money Hustlers?
I wasn't in there, man.
Oh man, they should have fucking wiggled you in there. That's disappointing on their part. It's not your fault, man. But man, look, everything you did for the Juggalo March, man, really legit matters to us, man. From every Juggalo's perspective, man, that was really cool. I was geeked out, excited when I saw you on the fucking flyer and they announced you. Like, it was just really cool, man, because I'm like, man, I have actually been in the locker room with that guy, heard him speak, and man, you have always had this conviction about you. You definitely need to do that book thing, man, because I'm going to check that out, and dude, I'll put it over, like, no doubt, man. It's just really cool to talk with you, man. I like everything you did with Backyard Wrestling. That was my shit. It was really cool. And all the extra shit you guys did for it, man. You guys had, like, music video vignettes and, like, all kinds of shit you did for that fucking, those releases. And, you know, we appreciate you putting in so much work, man. Very rarely do Juggalos get a fucking video game. Nonetheless, like a wrestling video game, man. It was really cool that you took time to fuck with it, man.
That was all Kevin Gill.
Dude, KG is that fucking guy, man. He really is, man. Kevin Gill, he's in everything. He has something to do with so much shit. His podcasts are really dope that he does with Rude Boy. I like those. Super fucking.
Well, please say something about that. I think just look at KG, your boy KG's podcast, or Kevin Gill. Search out his podcast and give it a listen. He works really hard.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like I definitely want. Man, I might hit him up and see if he'll talk with us. He's just a fucking great guy to talk to, man. He's super politically driven. And I think that's really cool, man, because like a lot of people look at Juggalos as not, you know, really being educated in that field, man. And KG will shut a motherfucker down with his knowledge. You know, it's really inspiring seeing him be so, you know, behind us. You know, he's got a format. He's got his radio show. He's always doing shit with CZW and just, you know.
You say it was an honor to hear me on the march. Just realize it was an honor for me to get to speak with J-Love at the march. It was a huge honor for me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Like, we really do appreciate you, Pondo, man. You have done a lot for us, man, and it was an honor having you on the show. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. We'll definitely have you on again. If you ever need me for anything, man, you've got my number. If you're ever in Evansville and you just want to shoot the shit, you get a hold of me, man. We'll have lunch. I'll buy. You know what I'm saying? Just to fucking pick your brain. You know what I'm saying? If you're ever in secret headquarters and you want to hit an arcade machine with me, man, you fucking let me know when you're in there too, man. I'll drive down and we'll get our Mortal Kombat on or something, brother.
Here we go again. Secret headquarters of the comic book store owned by Jeffrey Osborne, and it's right there in Evansville. I can't remember the address, but
yeah, I mean, I put it in my music video. You know what I'm saying? People know where it's at. We definitely put them out there as much as we can. Like, not only is it my primary comic store and I'm a nerd, but like, dude, I love arcade machines, and pinball's my shit too. They have an Elvira pinball machine that is so dope that I had to put it in my music video. Like, I love Elvira. I think she is just that woman to me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, dude, she's so bad, dude. So bad. So fucking bad. But anyways, man, thank you, Kevin, man. We really appreciate you, man. Thank you for letting us bother you, man. It was amazing talking with you. We'll definitely have you on again. I promise you, brother.
Alright, man. I don't sleep tonight, so anytime.
Alright, man, right on. We'll definitely take you into consideration more, man, alright?
Alright, buddy.
Alright, man, you be careful, brother.
Thank you for having faith in me, and thank you for allowing me to talk to people on your podcast.
No doubt, man. Anytime. For real, anytime.
Alright, buddy.
Alright, like, how amazing is that man? Dude. Like, people do not understand. I cannot believe. Like, Pondo just did 47 fucking minutes with us, bro. That is beautiful. Alright, fam, that is literally all the time we have tonight, man. And, I mean, it's beautiful that we... Crazy. All right, are we still filming?
Yes.
Okay, can we? Let's wrap it up real quick. I mean, like, we'll say like our ending little salute.
Yeah, there's Christine.
Yeah, Christine does thing. Christine, I apologize that you didn't get a whole lot of chance to talk right now. I feel like a dick. All right, hey,
time to go smoke.
Dude, that's a great motherfucking session.